Hello, welcome to Cartoon Graveyard. So it's Time-Lapse Friday, and we're going to be doing an illustration rather than a cartoon today. It'll still be a cartoon, still have a cartoon feel to it. In my mind, still have a cartoon feel, but I say illustration because probably a little bit more grown up in its renditioning. So something that would end up in maybe a manga, an anime, something along those kind of lines. That more liney look to it, but still a cartoon. So I'm going to be drinking my tea while we do this, as I often do with time lapse. But I shall meet you inside. So you know the drill. Ahoy, ahoy, and welcome to Cartoon Graveyard. So here we are for Friday's time lapse, and it's going to be a bit of a different one today. I know I say that a lot, but Friday's time lapse is generally set up to do the cartoons, and I get told a lot by people that they really enjoyed my illustrations. So because of that, I'm gonna have a slurp of tea. There you go. Just wet my whistle. So I'm going to be drawing a Kaiju. So for anyone that doesn't know, Kaiju means strange beast, not giant monster. We just seem to have adopted it for giant monster. So this is one of the Kaiju from my books. So this is from my series of books, Dr. Tripp's Chronicles, the Kaiju Chronicles. The first one being Dr. Tripp's Kaiju Cocktail. The second one being Time Terror, Moon Monster, and the third one being Time Terror. Now, you can see from my lines straight away that it looked a bit dog-like, the creature, but this is actually the Whaligator. So what I'm drawing in here is the very distinctive head of an alligator, and there you go. So they're quite distinctive heads. So like they've got a very wiggly jawline, a very pronounced brow ridge. They are the dinosaurs of today, if you don't count chickens, that is. And this particular one is from the books and is called the Whaligator, and it is, as the name suggests, a cross between a whale and an alligator. So part blue whale, part alligator. So you can see the focus that is there now, and just get rid of the grey lines. It makes it easier for you to see. But I've put some of those little flukes in. I don't know, not flukes. Whatever the tendrils are, the teeth, the filtering teeth. That someone can tell me in the comments what they are. But I've put some of the filtering teeth in, as well as alligator teeth. But here what I'm doing is I'm trying to put in something which is more of the whale. At the moment it just looks like an alligator on all fours. But this is a whale, so I'm trying to put in that very heavy throat of the blue whale. And I'm going to throw in a residual fluke. So fluke, using the right terminology here. So the flukes are obviously what gives them balance and stability as they're going through the water. And here I've tried to put a fluke in, and as you can see, the shape is quite distinctive. If you are ever drawing something from nature, I always recommend that you have references beside you. The jawline of the alligator is very distinctive. It's got that wiggly line. The flukes of the blue whale are very distinctive. They have that almost spade-like shape. So if you can get these subtle things right, then it doesn't matter how many extra lines and wiggles you put in, it becomes something you can really show that it's the creature. Okay, now these are shade lines. I'm gonna be shading this rather than colouring it in, because it's more my illustration style. And you can see that these shade lines, they're not straight. They follow the contours, even just the little lines follow the contours of where things will go. And the shading isn't just lines, there are dots in there, gives it texture, gives it an actual feel. And you can see this face it's very much as an alligator face. It's got that what I would call old woman lipstick look around the mouth, that kind of cracked up from the teeth, from the jawline. Now what I'm doing here is I'm making the whale half. Now the whale is obviously heavier in nature, so you have to put in that heaviness, show where it joins, show where it hangs down. There is a lot of weight in a whale. It's got blubber. There is very little meat on a crocodile. There is a lot of muscle, but there's very little meat. So this I'm putting in very heavy lines to suggest that there's a heaviness of weight hanging over this alligator. We're looking almost at a fat alligator, rather than a well-fed one that's actually got a winter fat on it. So you get to play around and really show something that wouldn't normally be seen. And for this, I'm trying to put the little barnacle effect on that you would often see. If I was sketching a whale, for instance, I would put little barnacles on the skin, little nodules. Now, obviously, a alligator doesn't have that, but if I move some of those nodules across from the blubber onto the actual tight skin of the alligator, it blends it in better. There you go. So moving it back out, you can see the weight. It's almost like there's a saddle of blubber hanging down and that very hung down neck of the whale. If you put your hand over the alligator's head and imagine a whale's head in its place, you can start to see the look of a whale in there as well. There's two very distinct creatures, but if you take your hand away and look at the whole thing, it looks very much like the animal it's supposed to be, a kaiju, something different, something strange. Now, this is obviously a giant creature. That's how it's described in the books, and that's how it wants to be here. But it's also not much of a cartoon. This more falls into the illustration field. But I would beg to differ that there's some fantastic cartoons out there which are drawn with very much an illustrator's eye. So this is my halfway house. This is my real focus of where I'm happy. If I'm ever sketching with a pencil, this is the kind of work I do. Lots of trying to feel the creature's anatomy beneath the skin. So if you look at this hand here, very forced down. I'm trying to get the feeling that it's slamming down into the ground. So get those knuckles up and really emphasize that wrist. So now you wouldn't see it like that, but shading, it gives that kind of zoom lines that you would get in a cartoon to show that an impact, it's doing something. Now, I've never normally very good at drawing feet. And as a child, I used to cover the feet all the time. I've got a lot better. The feet here I've designed to look like a tail. They're not feet. They don't exist like feet. They're supposed to propel this massive creature through the water, like a big creature with three tails almost. But they are clearly, legs are in there as well. So if you actually look at the feet here, you'll see they're very undefined, those back feet, as opposed to those quite claw-like front feet. This is to give them that image of it is a creature. Now, it looks like I've obliterated them as if I'm not happy, but I'm not. This is one of those joys of being able to work with layers. This creature is supposed to be standing in the surf, tearing up the sea around it as it hunts. There's the glitter of the lights jumping off the top of the waves. But what's nice is electronically I can dull that layer down. Here we go. Here is our impact. So slamming into the beach, getting something in a real punch to the beach. This is where it goes away from illustration and more into cartoon, as far as I'm concerned. You can't see movement lines in a real picture. A real illustration shouldn't show movement lines, so whereas a cartoon does. So this is where we've got that blend between the two. Trying to get a little bit of cross-hatching in as well to give the impression that there are scales on this beast, like the big armoured plated scales of an alligator. And I'm now trying to get some of those onto the thinner parts of the blubbery hide to show that there's an alligator in those blubbery bits too. Now, the shading comes in and really builds up here. So you can see it's giving that definition, giving texture. It's always fun to do stuff like this. Now, I'm going to do some actual shading and get myself a nice little couple of grey brushes and go in and give it a little bit more depth, something that the line shouldn't really do. This is the shadowing across the body, the subtleness that a strong light would take out. You can still give in definition. I'm going to try and pick up the bits where it's heavy. You give like a very fluid line, but when it's a place where it should be scaled, then give yourself those nice little cross-hatching lines to carry that image across. A little bit of darker grey to really bring out the depth of this creature plunging out of the waves. There you go. Again, picking up that definition of what different things you're there. When you're drawing, try and remember. Well, I say you try and remember. I try and remember what I'm actually doing. Is it something with weight? Is it something soft and malleable? Go around and touch things. Look at the world properly. Let's give it some bit of colour. So wherever it's hit on the beach, was once alive. Quite clearly isn't now. It's definitely a splat. This is a pouncing creature that has come out of the water, even though it's so big, and has grabbed something very much like alligators hunt in the wild. The sea swishing around it, give it a bit of colour, just a wash really, so it's got a feel to it. And then you need a background. It's quite clearly not reared up in a lovely, beautiful, sunny day. This is a creature of power. This is a creature that's in the storm and fighting for its food, killing the things it doesn't like. And so therefore, I can pick it out. I can really give that depth behind it. Rather than giving a block colour, give something with a little bit of texture as well, so that you can really feel the storm clouds gathering, the darkness of this creature bursting from the waves. Start telling yourself a story. Is there a storm going? Will the lightning strike? And clearly it does. So, this is our creature. This is our Kaiju. This is the Whaligator. And it's been an absolute pleasure once again to draw it. So the cartoon graveyard, we now have Kaiju country. So there will be more pictures of Kaiju coming in. Sometimes drawn like this, sometimes drawn like ordinary cartoons. I'm glad you enjoyed. So there you go. Cartoon Graveyard now has its very own Kaiju, its very own giant monsters, which will put them in Kaiju country. So if you've read my books, then thank you very much. You probably know the characters. If you don't, they are all available from all good bookshops, Amazon as well, and you can get them direct through www.kitcox.com. But obviously this is about artwork, so Please subscribe. Please enjoy. Please give me your suggestions of things you would like me to draw. And as always, it will be my pleasure. Thanks for coming to the Cartoon Graveyard. Bye bye.